Hello, my name is Sean Sperry. I am with the IBM Systems Storage Group. And in this short video, we're going to talk about the new SVC Dynamic Target Volume Allocation Adapter for Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware 4.1.3. And I want to first give you a little background about how Snapshot for VMware 4.1.3 used to interact with the SVC. When using the SVC in previous versions of the product, you used to have to go out and manually allocate the volumes where you were going to be placing the snapshots on a SAN volume controller. And then what you would do is you would go into the product, Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware, and either using this FCT file or a naming convention, define those volumes that you pre-allocated on the SAN volume controller to Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware. Now, with version 4.1.3, we've introduced an adapter that goes out and dynamically creates the volumes on the SVC and then deletes them when they're no longer needed. So as you can imagine, from an administrative perspective, that's going to greatly improve the ease of use of the product. No need for the administrator to go out there and do this handwork of creating the volumes and creating this mapping file or naming convention. Now, I do want to point out to you that there are certain circumstances and certain features in Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware where you may want to use the old adapter, specifically if you're doing remote mirroring or if you're using full or incremental copy mode. Then those are supported with only the older static adapter for Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware. I did want to also point out to you that there are a large number of systems that are based on SVC. So there's your standard SVC where you have a disk array in back of the SVC, but there are also some systems from IBM, including the V7000, V5000, V3700, and our new flash systems V840 and V9000, where those systems are going to be based on SVC technology, and you can use this new target adapter. Here we see a overview of the architecture of Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware. So if you're familiar with the product, you'll be familiar with this architecture. On the left-hand side here, we have the ACS controller daemon, and then the generic target adapter, which is going to be connected to the various different adapters that support the various different devices used with Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware. So here you see the NetApp adapter, the XIV adapter, our business partner Rocket Software's Rocket adapter, which supports third-party disk arrays including EMC and Hitachi, and here you see the FCN CIMA, which is the old SVC static target allocation adapter, and the new SVC DTA or dynamic target allocation adapter. Now, we've already talked a little bit about the ease of use, but one other feature I want to point out to you with the new DTA adapter is denoted down here at the bottom, and that is the fact that with the old adapter, it is possible to create a dependency chain where when you do a restore from a snapshot, you can interfere with some of the earlier snapshots in the dependency chain and thus not be able to use them to do a restore down the line. So that is called a destructive restore. And what our developers have done is with this new SVC DTA, design it to where you cannot do a destructive restore from the SVC. Basically, what we're going to do is do a read-write mount of the snapshot that you've created, but this read-write mount is going to be of a read-only snapshot backup. So any earlier versions of the snapshots that are dependent are not going to be written to, they're not going to be overwritten, and thus you won't be doing a destructive restore, or you can't do a destructive restore. So that's a really neat feature of the new DTA adapter. We're going to go ahead and do a demo. Before we do that, I just want to point out to you that there are a lot of additional information in the documentation that includes information on migrating from the old adapter if you need to, or coexistence with the old adapter. And as usual, there's all requirements document for Spectrum Protect Snapshot that lays out the specific disk arrays that are supported and specific versions of VMware, etc., etc. So I would encourage you to take a look at that documentation to get some more details on this adapter and how it works and what's supported. As far as the demonstration goes, we're going to be using VMware vSphere 5.5 and Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware 4.1.3. And the demo we're going to do is going to specifically look at the volumes on the back end of the SVC and what they look like with the old and new adapters, so you can just get some sense of how the adapters work and how it interacts with the SVC. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so we're going to start out by looking at the back end. Here we have a SVC or a stand volume controller. And the first thing I want to do is go out and just look at some volumes and just show you how things would have been done in previous versions of Spectrum Protect Snapshot. Here you see we have a volume that is being used to store a data store for VMware that we want to use to do snapshot backups. And as you can see here, what we've done is gone out and created the targets for the various versions of the snapshots that we wanted to create. So we've pre-allocated them on the SAN volume controller, and that was necessary with the previous version of the adapter. And of course, if we go out here and go to mappings, you'll see that we've also gone out and created the mappings for those two targets for our snapshot operations. Now, what I've done here, just to show you what things look like on the SVC, is go out and created a data store with a couple virtual machines on it, and we're going to look at how things are set up with the new dynamic target allocation adapter. And here you can see that for the data store, I just have my one volume, and when I go ahead and do the snapshot backup of the virtual machines on the data store, Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware will go ahead and automatically create my snapshot volume for that is holding the backup, and go ahead and give it a name automatically, so that I do not have to do that pre-allocation. I do not have to go in and go to Spectrum Protect Snapshot and actually do the mapping or define these volumes. Now what I'm going to do is just to show you how a restore looks, I'll go to my vSphere web client, and what I'll do is I'll just stop one of the machines I have stored, on that data store, and I'll go ahead and do a delete from disk. And so that machine is now gone from vSphere, from VMware. And now what I'll do is I'll go back to my Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware, and I've already done a backup. So as you can see, that data store that contains that virtual machine has been snapshotted, and as a matter of fact, it is stored out there. If we go look on this particular volume right here, that is how Spectrum Protect Snapshot chose to name it. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and do a restore of that particular virtual machine. So I'll do a restore. I'll go ahead, I can do a refresh here, I already had it selected. So I'll go ahead and look at my data center. And there's a machine I want to restore. It's loading the specific snapshot backups that were available. And I'll go ahead and do a select and go ahead and do a restore. And Spectrum Protect Snapshot for VMware will go ahead and load up a wizard for me, take me through the restore process. It's asking me whether I want to restore the whole virtual machine or selected disks. I'm going to go ahead and restore the whole virtual machine. I want it back in its original location, back to its original data store, so I'll go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and take the default source information, and we'll go ahead and let the restore run. The restore task will kick off in a second. It's going to ask me, do I want to monitor this restore task? I'll go ahead and click OK, and here you'll see the restore running. Now what I want to do while this is actually happening is show you the back end of the SVC and what's going on here. If I go out and look at the SVC, you'll see now I have my snapshot that's being used for the restore, and I've created this additional volume that is a read-only version of the snapshot that I'm using to do the restore. So that's what's being used to do the restore. And we're going to go back here and wait for our restore to run. It'll take a second, or a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and stop the video while that completes. Okay, a minute or two have passed by. I'm going to go ahead and do a refresh here on the Spectrum Protect Snapshot interface while it does the unmount. And as you can see, the restore has completed successfully. What I'll do is I'll go back here into my VMware vSphere web client and then go ahead and refresh that, and we should see our virtual machine back restored into VMware. So we can go ahead and do a startup of that machine if we want to. Now what I really want to show you is on the back end of the SVC that you'll note Spectrum Protect Snapshot has cleaned up that volume it used to do the restore. So that volume is gone. and we have done a non-destructive restore of a virtual machine. So I hope you found that useful, and I look forward to seeing you in another video soon.